There has been many times that I'm sure all of us have faced self-doubt, lack of confidence. But how many of us have created a business around our own insecurities and rebuilding that and becoming the better version of ourselves? Well, today's guest has. I'm going to introduce you to Kristie, who is the founder of Queenfidence. Stay tuned. Hi, Kristie. Welcome to the show.
Hello, 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 Jackie. It's good to be here.
Thank you. So let's get started. So I know we were chatting a few minutes ago, and you shared how you started your business around, I think, perhaps some insecurities and lack of self confidence maybe you experienced a while back. So talk us through how did you get to where you are today?
Ooh, one step at a time. But I am super excited and want to share my heart with your audience. I remember vividly being the dominant introvert, super shy, timid, afraid of public speaking, and it's wild now, fast forwarding and seeing that I get paid to do this thing. But I had to work through so much internal resistance, Jackie, the inner fears, not using my voice. And one of my favorite affirmations is speak, even if your knees tremble. Use your voice, even if your knees shake. And that's how I started. Just speaking while being afraid, just doing it afraid. And once you go through the challenges of life and you overcome your own insurmountable obstacles, there's something on the other side of that called purpose. And I turned my pain into purpose and began using my gift to help others become free within themselves. I often say we want to turn that person that feels like they're a scary cat into a fierce lioness.
Okay, so I know a lot of people have that fear of public speaking. So if you have that fear, why did you feel it necessary to still pursue it and push through it? Why did you want to make a business around it?
Mm. When I look back, there are layers to the bedrock, I often say, of belief. And there is something that happens in the process of your own transformation. The other day, I was walking with my dogs at the park, and I saw the cocoon for the first time. One of my favorite animals and creatures is the butterfly because of that dark space that we go through. But you think about it. If you never survive the cocoon stage, that place of darkness, the mushiness where we're metamorphosizing, right? We never get to see the beauty. And once you behold the beauty of your change, it's hard to keep it to yourself. You just want to flutter all around and let everyone else see how you have transformed and what is possible. And so for me, to inspire others, it's really my oxygen. Even now, as a leader, I still have challenging days, but it's the things that I am freely afforded to do because of the gift. It's the thing that keeps me alive. It keeps me moving forward, being able to help someone else.
That's beautiful. So how do you help someone else? How do you help them transform into that butterfly as well?
Mm. Where I first start is with the vision,
Okay.
because I often say it's hard to seize it if you can't see it. And so we start with the vision. What is it that you're envisioning? Most clients, when they come to me, Jackie, they're saying, I don't know what's next. I often hear that.
Mm.
And I feel that's an easy way out. And I often say, divorce your doubt and start marrying your mission. But you can't marry your mission if you don't have the vision.
Right.
And I'm surrounded by 22 vision boards, 6 vision books, because when I was in the thick of it, in the weeds, in that space of not knowing, and you are developing your voice, you are developing your inner image. Because as a branding communicator, as a branding expert who helps individuals become, you have to start with clarity of thought, because if it's not clear, it's hard to execute, and you'll get stuck in that I don't know. Well, when you get into deliberate action, it makes it easier to progress forward, and you won't hear yourself saying, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. And nobody wants to stay stagnant. That's just uninspiring.
So when people come to you, what place are they in their life or in their business? Like how do they know it's time to work with you?
Mm-hmm. I often say it's time to shift from stuck to unstoppable. So at the heart of my client, they're feeling stuck around something, whether they're stuck in their marriage, they plateaued somewhere. It could be in their weight loss journey. They feel stuck. And how do we get them out of that place is we open the mind up, because your imagination has to be greater than your limitations. I often say the valley in itself, that low place, you can have victory in it. You don't have to be consumed by those low defeated thoughts. And so that's what we do, is work on the mindset, hence the power of vision. But what's in that vision? Those visions are comprised of thoughts. You have to think lofty thoughts if you're going to elevate out of that low state.
Hmm. So that sounds like a lot of different like layers or a journey that you take people through.
Right.
Um, so when they come to you, so they're confused often, right? Or stuck. And then when they leave from working with you, what is that transformation? What does that look like for your typical client?
I'll give you a case in point.
Yeah.
As someone who's been stuck, one gentleman came to me and he had a broken heart. His girlfriend broke up with him. And for 12 months, Jackie, he was stuck. In his mind, he was replaying over and over what he did not do right, even though he did the best that he could. So he couldn't even be open to love because he was trying to figure out why it did not work. He couldn't move forward. Well, after 3 sessions working with me doing the inner work, session 4, he comes to me just a couple of days ago and he says, I'm dating someone new. It didn't have to take 12 months. you know, when we address what's happening internally and process, heal, decide to move forward. But I have to believe for the individual that's stuck, I don't know if you ever heard the affirmation. It's hard to see the picture when you are the frame. The eye can't
Mm.
help. So that's the power of having this unbiased voice in your ear, an affirming voice to help you move through the noise, because we don't want to live in park.
Right. So I wasn't expecting you to share a client who was going through a breakup. That's very different than what I would have assumed was your typical client. So is there a typical client for you?
The typical client is a leader who's feeling
Okay.
stuck. And I look at their whole life, because oftentimes when I think about, executive leaders that I work with, typically executive managers, it's some type of leader, but we forget that leaders are human. And I remember what inspired me to even work with leaders when I was working in admin. And I remember serving a high level female leader, and I would see her come in early and she leaves late. And I thought about who's caring for the leader, the ones that are constantly pouring out to others. And I really wanted to be the leader's leader, the leader's coach in their ear for when they are in pain. They are successful on paper, but they have a desire for a relationship. Sometimes it's they are stress eating and they've gained too much weight in their mind. So it really is about them being able to perform at the highest level and feel great at the same time. I know personally as a leader, I remember years ago constantly giving. And one day I hit the timeout button and I said, I want to be a recipient of my own goodness. And I started creating the change that I needed to be a high level leader. And I recognized that I needed high level support. And so now I have my own personal wellness squad. And that looks like 4 different coaches in my ear, because I need to be poured into. And that way I can show up powerfully on any stage, any platform. And so when that leader comes to me, it literally is addressing what's making them feel uncomfortable, what's creating this discomfort in their mind, the friction that they need to move through, and the change that they desire to see.
So a very holistic approach to just kind of mentoring the whole person. I like that. I feel like that's a unique niche. I haven't really heard too many coaches speak to the whole individual. It's usually a business strategy or one specific issue, but you're right. Oftentimes that could be something else that's like the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
call it the lifestyle, because it's a lifestyle change that's necessary
mm,
often. what part of your life isn't working so you can be that powerful leader.
Yeah. So tell us about your signature program.
Yes, queenfidence. I walk these individuals through going back to that holistic approach from the inner to the outer, because most people see the outer, and this is what inspired me to go down this path, because I'm a licensed esthetician by trade. And when I would be serving in day spas, the medical spas, women were always telling me about their inner image, image issues. One, it could be daddy issues, whatever the thing is that was making them feel less than. And I realized I'm painting faces, or I'm doing all of these services, but we have a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. And so that's why I focus when we talk about image enhancement, starting with the inside first. Then we can
Mhm.
beautify the outside, because it makes no sense to be so beautiful on the outside and you're walking around with a broken heart, or you're walking around with a fear of confrontation, whatever that thing may be, that's hindering you from showing up as your most powerful and authentic self. That's the key, because there are some women that tell me, Kristie, I cannot show up on camera. I don't like the way this mole looks on my nose. That's a problem, because if you can't show up, then how can you serve? How can you impact? How can you create a lasting legacy? That's the heart of leadership 101, is visibility.
I'm just over here nodding the whole time. So, how long do people typically work with you?
It depends on the client.
Okay.
But for my signature program, I work with them between 8 and 12 weeks. I believe we can create rapid results. That is really one of my angles. I often say nothing massive ever occurred by being passive. And when individuals get those quick results, and I'm talking about for long-term change, but initially what creates the momentum is seeing those fast wins. Now, we don't live in fast paces all the time, but initially they need to be able to see what is possible. And just because of my personal vibration level, I get things done, and we get them done in a short amount of time. And because I'm ready to move to the next. And we think about progress. At the heart of progress, we want to create the change, not only that happens in a short amount of time, but that is sustainable. And so that's
Mhm.
when we continue to do the deeper work based on that individual.
All right. Well, Kristie, how can someone learn more about you and the program and just kind of rebuilding their confidence?
Yes, you can find me at my hub, queenfidence.com, queenfidence.com. Queen with a crown.
Well, thank you, Kristie. It was such a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you, beautiful. I appreciate it.